So we should be now live, and I have my cat. Um, okay, now, okay, let's go live. And
Okay,
so, absolutely. So, go ahead, Hans Peter.
so welcome to our monthly live webinar, Leading the Change, where Catherine and I, two senior executives, talk about embracing sustainability and the circular economy. A small recap of what we have talked so far. In episode 1, we had a very good discussion about our backgrounds, our learnings so far in change and in transformations, and our personal motivation to become sustainability and circular economy advocates. Then in episode 2, we delved into the transformative power CEO buy-in has and its
Mhm.
crucial role in driving organizational change. The previous episode, number 3, we spent some time talking about reversing the decline in sustainability engagement, the factors behind this decline, and we explored some innovative strategies and how you can drive positive change in the community in general and in your organization. For today's episode number 4, we have another exciting theme that we want to talk about. Before I hand over to Catherine, just one small administrative thing. We aim to talk for 20 minutes, 10 to 1. We want to open the floor and invite you for some questions. And we have one interesting thing as well at the end, but you will see, so stay tuned. And Catherine, do you want to enlighten us what we have on our agenda for today?
Sure, thank you. So, welcome everyone. And Hans-Peter and I, or HP and I, we were thinking about, when it comes to circularity, more now today on the operational side, how can we go or move from a linear processes, end-to-end processes, and bring them into circularity? So I'm going to have a kind of a interview session today with HP. I mean, so that we can benefit from his operational insights on how could digital transformation play a major role in it.
Great. I'm looking forward to it.
So HP, so what can you tell us? What can you share with us?
Look, I would say, as you said, digital transformation in general, I believe, can play a major role in embracing sustainability and in driving circularity in an organization. However, one caveat: digital transformation shouldn't be the starting point. I think, as we discussed in previous episodes before, the CEO or the leadership team wants to have undergone this personal transformation and said, okay, yes, we have this long-term view and we want to build a future-proof organization. The first point is that they have to sit down and say, okay, how can we integrate sustainability to become a core part of our strategy?
Mhm.
So the other thing is the starting point. But then digital transformation does offer some support in becoming sustainable.
Right.
Digital transformation or digital technology, let's call it like that, does offer tools that a company can use to bring transparency in the whole value chain. When we talk about waste management, when we talk about pollution, CO2 footprint, when we talk about energy consumption, energy efficiency, and when we talk about the whole decision-making process in general, because
Mhm.
data driven decisions can be much smarter than non-data driven technicians. And I would say, let's talk about, and we also had that in the, when we announced this session, we said digital transformation, the role, and end-to-end processes was also in one of our title. What I would like to offer to the audience is that whenever you or your company have the opportunity to, let's say, implement or buy a new ERP system, please use this opportunity and review your whole value chain, the whole processes in your value chain from an end-to-end perspective.
Mhm.
I think that offers really opportunities, and you can do that yourself. My learning, when I did it in my last role, we did this whole end-to-end process review, and we did it with the support of so-called subject matter experts, in our case, that were implementation partners of the software that you have chosen. You can take any other partner. And honestly, there are enough experts out on the market that can already offer you uh, expertise when you review your whole end-to-end process chains. And I think also when you do this business process review, you should take two things into account. The subject matter expert's role should be to bring into the outset in view this, what's the market best practice in a process, and be open-minded, and don't say, yeah, but this is how we do it. No, listen to the market best practice, and also then directly take the opportunity and look at it from an angle that you say, is this a linear model, a linear business model, meaning are we making, wasting a product or a service? And how can we improve and make this process circular, introducing closed loops? And there are different business models. And also, if you think, oh, but that's complex and we don't have the knowledge, there are already now experts out, and we don't need to name companies, but companies offer already now end-to-end business reviews with the focus on making traditional linear business processes circular.
So, are you saying that something which I like very much is the other day I was reading Peter Drucker's famous quote, efficiency versus effectiveness. And efficiency, I mean, we are bathing since 30 years in the industrialization of processes, making them efficient and doing the things right. And I think that with sustainability, and what you said earlier is that the other perspective of Peter Drucker, the effectiveness, doing the right thing, gets a new perspective or even a deeper definition, a philosophical definition. So what you're saying is basically, if I understood you right, is that, okay, look always at what is important to you and do the right things for you, and then step into the efficiency processes in using the best expertise or best industry cases, and see how you can apply it within your company as you're implementing an ERP. And by the way, HP and I, we had some discussion about that. It is about also making changes all the time. And it means also, even if you have an ERP, it requires a circularity, or to bring these closed loops, to introduce them, always requires that we have a permanent review of our process and how we can make them even better. And this is also where these subject matter experts can come in, right, Hans-Peter?
Yes, yes. I think what you said is I would fully agree, and I can just buy into that. And but what you said, what is right for you? Looking at this perspective, and there I can only underline again, what is right for you should be, once the company goes through, what is our purpose? Why are we here? So what's our vision? What's our mission? They're defining their strategy, what which journey they want to go, and they also prioritize, because sustainability, and let's we had a talk yesterday, and I also mentioned that how I viewed it. It's like, if you imagine the visual, and you probably all have seen it, it's a long street going into the horizon, and you don't really see where is the end. With sustainability, it's a journey that you are going on, and this journey doesn't have a destination. It's and the journey will never end. So prioritizing what is important for yourself in sustainability and what you want to work first, I think this is the first step. And once that is clear, for those people participating in this digital transformation, in these end-to-end process reviews, then they have more clarity on what's important for us, and how can we uh, make a traditional model circular. And one that's you remember, Catherine, you talked about it as well. Also, look out, if you take experts, there are experts out that are very opportunistic, and they use this end-to-end business framework just to, where it fits, you can make it circular. Where it doesn't fit, keep it traditional. I think that's something where I would say, always keep in mind, not everything can be done at the same time, but once you have this chance to review, even then, when you review it, you can say, okay, some of the processes we can turn, we can make from a straight line into the circle immediately. Others probably will follow later, but please look at it from a holistic point of view, and not this opportunistic perspective. I think that is also what I see what can happen.
I think that this is something which is really important, and we all need to unlearn to be solely in the efficiency area. It's also about, you called it the purpose. Why are we here? What do we want to do? And it's also what Peter Drucker said, the effectiveness, doing the right thing from an ethical, from an impact perspective. So yeah, absolutely. So how do you, because you mentioned something important. I think that we should all, instead of reinventing the wheel, also use best practices. And we do have, or these providers can have also some best practice or industry best practice templates. How do you see that it limits the competitive advantage or the unique value proposition that a company wants to keep? How do you fit this square in the round hole?
It's a very good question, Catherine. I'm from my experience, when I did it last, we also aimed, and we talked. We had an implementation company that also offered a fashion template. So don't imagine that you can take this off the shelf and one-to-one implement it in your company. You probably could do that if you're a startup and you say, I'm starting from scratch, then you can do it. But I would say, in a running business, in a running organization that says, okay, now we want to invest in digital transformation, we want to invest in implementing an ERP system, you have your legacy. So you have your processes, you have your way how you did business to date. But what this template offers is is a kind of a guideline on how do or how could processes look like, and it should be you should always reflect and what how can you adapt your processes to the best practice. But I would say even if you say we are staying 100% at standard, so that was our slogan last time. We said let's stick to standard as far as possible. I would say if a company realizes probably 70-80% of such a template, that's already good enough.
Mhm.
And in terms of competitive advantage, uh, you said something very intriguing, and I think I fully align to that. I think we have to unlearn what we have learned, and in respect to I learned, probably you also learned. Uh, we as a company, we have a competitive advantage, and don't talk about it outside the company, because don't give away our secret how we do business, because others can copy it. In I think in the new world, if I can say so,
Mhm.
in sustainability, the world has changed. Sustainability can't be mastered by Europe alone, for example. It's a global issue.
Mhm.
Sustainability can't be mastered by one company. So it involves and it demands collaboration across industries, but also within the same industry. So it could well be, and there are examples already existing where competitors collaborate on projects. If you take the recycling industry, a very investment intensive uh, industry, there are collaborations of competitors.
Mhm.
And yes, I think such a template, uh, if it's certain processes, it doesn't harm, or there is no competitive advantage if you say I'm doing it different than others. And let's be honest, in the end, we also elaborated on that, I think, in our last. In the end, and I'm convinced, the largest asset any company normally has are people, are their
Yes.
people. And
Yes.
people make the difference. And people you can't clone and you can't copy. So yes, you can have the same business model, you can copy paste, and I will guarantee you company A will do it differently or perform differently than company P, because it's people that make the difference. So
Yes.
I wouldn't worry too much about that. It shouldn't be an argument not using best practices or a template, because people are afraid that then we could lose our competitive advantage. I think
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
summarizes it.
That is a good point, because I mean the in any digital transformation, the culture aspect and how to shift it, within the company, so that everyone is part of this transformation and has a say, is really is most likely the thing where most projects either fail and some succeed. Now, I'm conscious of time, and because I would love to for us also to open up for some questions. And by the way, for the two that I'm seeing, hello, Colin, and hi, Luis. I, we were thinking about, now that we gave you, our why we became advocates in sustainability, how to get the buy-in of the CEO, what to do with the tendency of sustainability fading away from the top priority agenda of companies. And today, talking more about the operational side, how to make sure that we embed or we bring in circularity in, or we change linear processes to circular ones. We were talking about opening up our webinar to guest speakers. But before that, I would like to ask you, and so please make ready your mentee ready, even though we will publish also a poll on LinkedIn for the people who were not able to join live so that they have also a chance to react. I think that what we describe today is how can one company become circular, and what are the steps they can do on the operational side to make it happen. Now, we know that with the deglobalization, the scarcity of resources, and also how to be more efficient by reusing functioning parts of a phone or whatever, a car, and to reinsert in the production site. There are two ways of functioning in a circular way. Either you become then you are circular and you're looking at building an ecosystem, a regional ecosystem with different partners inside and outside who are the best, who have the best capabilities. Or you can also partner with competitors and see how you can leverage from this side. So I wanted to ask you, and I'm going to publish here on this on the chat box on the comments side. If you could click on this link and fill it out. Where do you want us to bring our next guest speakers, as well as where would you like us to focus on? Is it more on the regional, ecosystem, and where we would like to spend some time with some fashion experts, some construction experts, etc., meaning around these the domains where we can reach the biggest or the highest impact? Or do you want us to explore more the collaborative side, where you have the power of ecosystems and platforms, and of collaborating and creating maybe some quicker dynamics also, because you have a bigger scale and a scale power. So I would like to know where you are here on that. If let me see if I see.
Where do they find the link?
Do you see the link? Let me see if I let me post it directly on that is a good question. Thank you. I'm going to show it. Do you see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
So if you go to menti.com and use this
link
number,
or you use the number, let me put it here. And we have from Anna a very good question where I would like to answer to. If you use else the code 65043975, let me see if I can copy it somewhere. Okay, anyway, but as the answers come in, let me maybe read Anna's question, because it's a very important one. If people are so important, why do so many companies treat them as disposable? I'm sorry. So often they fail to recognize the knowledge, experience, and culture that walks out the door on two legs. That is a fantastic question, and I think I cannot give you, or we cannot give you one answer. I think that it is definitely the reason why so many transformation projects fail. Hans-Peter, do you want to start first?
I could think of if we talk about assets, financial assets, where people or where companies have invested, which are in their financial books, they are very tangible, and people treat these assets differently. And I think people, it is the largest asset. I think we are but it's kind of intangible. Huh? So it's not as one-on-one like financial. You have an asset, you have a machine, it has cost so much and it produces so much. You can measure it. With people, yes, you can measure productivity, etc. It's more intangible. So my experience, whenever people turn out of business turns sour, when companies need to go into cost savings, they are not saving on, or they are no company, hardly any company thinks about, okay, maybe we need to sell off machines to generate cash. No, it's how can we save on people. So I see that fully, and Anna, you're absolutely right. But I think that demands also again this mindset shift that people uh, realizing people make a difference, and why is it? I can't remember if or I don't really know is there, if there is a certain bias towards things that we can touch or that we can control, like machines better than people. I don't know. But good question, and yes, I'm also very often ask myself the same question.
I think that it is absolutely crucial that when there's such a transformation going on, there are people who are really specialized in cultural change who are participating too. It can be someone, there are different ways of approaching it, but it is definitely something which where it is good to have people who can question some biases or make you aware of some biases or unstated statements that you have, and through the right or the proper questioning. So it can go from a group coaching, critical thinking. It can go also, Osterwalder and his team did also some work on that, because it is really one of the main pillar where we can either fail or succeed. Colin says, focus for circularity is product e-commerce, but behind every operations are real people. Yes, with real emotions and feeling, motivations. So the big challenge, as noted, is the need to change culture and behavior. In lieu of this, there is a need to think about practical strategy to more effectively connect the community and around the product-led operation. Absolutely. And reason why I'm also mentioning Osterwalder's work, it is his Italian colleague who really made some tremendous findings and easy to implement findings on what are the behaviors which are driving, enabling a cultural change or digital transformation, and which are the ones which are hindering it. And I think that to have these types of rules and work them out is something which is really important. And in the end, it is also the board and the CEO's responsibility to make it happen, these changes on the cultural side. Reason why there are so many people also requesting and asking that if a CEO does not perform in this way, that there might be also a succession pipeline to work on actively within the board level. We have Alexander. Maybe do you see his comment?
Yeah. Before I read Alexander's comment, I think what I would also like to add in the people discussion, in the medium and long term, if companies treat people like, as I think Anna said it, disposables, it will fire back.
Yes.
I think that's the good thing. It regulates itself. People, there are platforms out where employees are or ex-employees are comment. So in the end, those companies that treat people as an asset are those companies that in the medium and long run will be successful. I think I'm totally convinced. And now, Alexander Sauer, thanks for your comment. So you said, Anna, I would assume that a lot of our management practices are tailored to repetitive work, which could be described once, then, and knowledge is present in the company as the process. In this case, people have just the value of completing a certain task and are treated as a machine. Yeah, it's a bit like Henry Ford's start of industrial revolution,
Um,
where, yeah.
yes, but on the other side, I think that um, the times where CEOs were the most valued person within the company, I don't talk about the responsibilities they have and what they need to do. I'm talking about the value that they bring in. I think that nowadays we know, and CEOs know that very well. And I can only talk about my own experience, that my people, my former people, knew the work way better than I. So I have also um, an very high interest of making sure that people are involved in the whole process. And in the end, it's maybe my responsibility as CEO to make it happen. And that is true. But who needs to live on a day to day basis are the people within the company, because they are using all the tools, right? They are the ones who will be day to day in touch with the stakeholders, internally as well as externally. So we better embed them in the whole process. And yeah, in the end, yes. So, added bonus with strong community support. Yes, Colin, could connect service providers that are related to the product life cycle. Absolutely. I think that we all need to learn from each other. And that is and by the way, the Mendy results were 5-5. So we are going to publish also the poll on LinkedIn to see where we put the emphasis. And if it remains the same number, well, we will do then one session industry related and one session collaborative related, so that everyone will be happy. Um, that said, we are already 2 minutes after one, over our time. Unless there's a last question, I think we are reaching now the end of our session.
I think let's come to an end. We aimed for 30 minutes. I think it was good, and thanks for the participation, for the
Thank you.
questions. I think this is really helping us. So I think that's very valuable.
And
Uh,
and what- and what we see now is also, if we relate our topics, Hans Peter, together with the people, we get way more engagement.
yes, great. That's really great. So as Catherine said, so stay tuned. We are in touch with some external guests. So we can't promise that it's already for next time. So hopefully we get that, but it will definitely follow soon. And I would say thank you very much for joining us this time, and see you again in 4 weeks' time. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Colin, thank you so much. And we will also reply on your comment. Thank you so much, and have a lovely weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.